With Andor Season 2 fast approaching, I wanted to take a look at the major players of the series and see how Season 1 changed them and where they are heading into Season 2. Cassian Andor, played by Diego Luna, when we first meet him, he's a selfish survivor doing whatever he can to scrape by. He's cynical about everything and doesn't have any real focus for his life. He does care about his adoptive mother, Maarva, and his droid, who is more of a friend to him than a robot or pet, B2 Emo. He's left calloused by a rough childhood and wants to find his sister. This sister plotline is actually dropped pretty early on in the first season, but I feel like there has to be some payoff or resolution in Season 2. The series is too well written to forget about it. There are some seeds of who Andor will become shining through. A big piece of that puzzle is that his adoptive stepfather, Clem, was hung by Imperial troops. After being recruited for a single rebel mission as a paid gun for hire, Andor starts to wake up to the larger fight around him. He's even confronted by a mirror of himself in Skeen, who abandons the cause for credits. Andor isn't fully a joiner at this point, and yes, he's taking money to do the job, but he proves loyal, caring, and to be a trustworthy man. He gets a closer look at the Empire's cruelty when he's wrongfully arrested and giving an unbalanced sentence, essentially making him a slave. Even inside the Imperial prison, he finds deeper levels of tyranny and works with the other convicts to stage a prison break. After the break and getting a taste of being a leader, he returns home to attend his adoptive mother's funeral. She had recorded an incredible speech rallying everyone to fight back against the Empire. The real Cassian Andor emerges in this chaos. He does right by his friends, people who he took for granted before. He even stops running and faces his fate, saying that he will either die or join the bigger fight against the Empire. Luthen Rael is played expertly by Stellan Skarsgård. He's a double agent. He poses as part of Coruscant's high society by day and orchestrates rebellious missions by night. He sees something in Andor and puts him on the path to becoming a very effective rebel spy. Luthen's story is full of the difficult choices that leadership must make. It shows the risk those who supported the rebellion but weren't necessarily in the trenches took, and that has some very real feeling sacrifices that come with the leadership along the way. During the course of the first season, we see Luthen's brilliance in things like the Aldhani heist and the cold decisions leaders need to make, like when he sacrifices the lives of 50 rebel agents to keep an important asset for the larger war going. Even with the cold decisions, like sacrificing his men, or even planning to kill Andor to maintain his own secret, he never comes across as villainous. The writing is as strong as Skarsgård's performance. Luthen will do whatever it takes to defeat fascism, and he has to come to terms with that. Luthen seems to fall deeper and deeper into darkness. His cause is noble, but these tough decisions are taking a toll on the man. In the final meeting he has with Andor in the first season, his faith is restored in the cause because Andor joins. Luthen sees the long-term plan of building a rebellion and propping it up for future success. He knows the future success is a future that is not for him. If you're getting value or entertainment out of any of my transmissions, it would mean a lot if you would join the Remnant and subscribe. Mon Mothma, played by Genevieve O'Reilly. This is a storyline that I didn't know how bad I wanted it until I got it. Mothma is walking a tightrope the entire season. She's a senator in a powerless Senate. She's trying to build the rebellion, and she's losing her family over it. More importantly, her daughter. Her husband kinda sucks. While Luthen's arc shows the weight of leadership, Mothma is showing the cost of having these convictions. She lives on Coruscant, where she continues to try to work as a senator for the betterment of the galaxy's citizens. Her real work is in funding the growing rebellion through supposed charity works. She's a great example of the story trope of being trapped in a gilded cage. Everything about her life on the surface looks great. She's got fancy speeders, dinner parties, a nice house, a husband, and a daughter. But her family life is broken. Her husband is disinterested, and her daughter feels little connection to her distant mother. Mothma's secret works raise some eyebrows and puts her larger life in even more peril. Her personal finances are scrutinized, as are her relationships, and she's monitored at all times. She even gets a proposition that would be great for the rebellion, but would mean selling her daughter's hand in marriage. This is a dated Chandrilan custom that Mothma feels sick about even considering. She has to put personal feelings and values aside for the bigger picture. Mothma puts on a brave face as a senator and gets to deliver some incredible speeches. Unfortunately, no one inside the universe gives them a second thought. We've seen Mothma's trajectory in other Star Wars properties, but Andor gives us a more in-depth and intimate look at the woman behind the rebellion. Syril Karn is played by Kyle Soller. This private security deputy inspector is a true believer in his job and takes it far more seriously than anyone else, even his commanding officers. He's something of a walking joke in the beginning of the series and bungles a self-appointed mission so badly that he loses his job and has to move back in with his judgmental, overbearing mother. He's down for a while, but eventually the fire is relit and he's determined to redeem himself. It becomes very clear in the scenes between Karn and his mother that his insatiable need to prove himself is born from a lifetime of this specific kind of neglect and mental abuse. He does things like follow every formality. He even customizes his uniform to hide his personal insecurities. Carl sees ISB agent Dedra Meero, who we'll talk about in just a minute, as a kindred spirit and a role model in where he wants to be career-wise. It's possible he's romantically in love with her as well, but it's definite that his obsession is in wanting to be just like her. Denise Gow, who plays Meero, gave an interview for StarWars.com that sums up both her and Soller's characters perfectly. She refers to them as heroes of their own journeys. Both of these characters are obsessed with doing the right thing. They believe they are doing their best in their circumstances. They don't see that they're doing it for the wrong side. Throughout Season 1, Karn is taken from an arrogant officer who's actually nothing more than a cog to a disgraced nobody, and then someone who's finding their own path and self-worth. Well, at least he's getting out from under the thumb of his mother because he is following in another person's footsteps. Karn is an interesting character who is a true believer in his cause, but his broken past has him embracing the fascist regime as a way to fill the void within himself. It makes him feel like he matters. Dedra Meero, played by Denise Gow, Meero, an Imperial Security Bureau agent, gives the audience a great view of the banality of evil. She is presented as an underdog. The Empire isn't just a speciesist organization, but a sexist one as well. Watching the series, you can even find yourself accidentally rooting for her. That is until you remember what the results of her success would mean and who she's actually serving. She sees patterns that those who outrank her dismiss. As she finds success, her ruthlessness comes out. She becomes harder to root for as she gets closer to taking down our actual heroes. She crosses a line when calling for the torture of Bix, a friend of Andor's. Meero shows us the inner workings of the ISB and represents the by any means necessary attitude of the Empire. The result is the only thing that matters. In an interesting turn, she's rescued by Karn in a moment that humanizes both of them, having the audience care about her fate once again. The humanizing roller coaster of her arc is powerful. Meero tastes success in Season 1 and almost dies for it. Despite this, she refuses to back down and will likely be a cunning adversary in the upcoming second season. Bix Caleen is played by Adria Arjona, or perhaps Arjona. Bix is a citizen of Ferrix who gets by working as a mechanic and a black market dealer on the side. Her and Andor don't seem like the best of friends, but they are actually very similar people. She's also the one who puts him in touch with Luthen and even tries to warn him of Imperial danger. She watches her boyfriend get gunned down in the streets and learns that he was the one who sold Andor out, which leads directly to her arrest and torture. These events break the woman. The confident and capable Bix that we meet early in the season ends up beaten, broken, and hollow by the end of the season. Andor does save her life, which leaves the door open for her to rebuild and find herself again. She serves as a reminder of the costs of war, even in a collateral damage sense, as she was a civilian caught up in the midst of everything. Maarva Andor, played by Fiona Shaw. Maarva is Andor's adoptive mother. Her influence is seen in Andor in everything that he does, even though she herself has limited screen time. For most of the season, she's a frail old woman physically, but her mind is sharp and the fire of rebellion never went out inside of her. After she learns of the Aldhani heist and how Andor was able to give the Empire a black eye, that fire is fueled and begins to grow. She always knew the man Andor would become in Rogue One was inside of him, and she gave him the time and space to discover it on his own. she doesn't live to see the end of the season. At her funeral, attended by the citizens of Ferrix and every key player in the first season of the show, a recorded holo message is played. It's a powerful speech that calls for everyone to fight against the evil Empire, a call to action that they hear and follow through on. Despite limited screen time, Maarva gives audiences a look at real courage and defiance in the face of unjust oppression. Her death is a call to action for Andor and Ferrix that comes at a time when the whole galaxy is ready to hear her message. She also displays unconditional love to her adopted son, keeping the Star Wars theme of found family going in a spectacular way. Kino Loy is played by Andy Serkis. Loy isn't in the majority of the season, but the time that we do get to spend with him is incredibly memorable. Loy is an inmate in the prison camp Andor is unjustly sent to. He's a foreman, which means he's in charge of a group of other prisoners. He runs a tight ship, thinking that the hard work will result in his release. His compliance to the strict rules of the prison are what keeps him going. He pumps out quality work, even if it is for a government that he hates. It gives him something to take pride in. Loy starts as a counter to Andor, a man who only knows rules and a man who's learning to openly rebel. When it's made clear that Loy's dream of freedom is yet another lie of the Empire's, he breaks down. He sees Andor's side of things and agrees to assist in a mass breakout for the prisoners. The real Kino Loy comes out in this brief arc as he delivers his own impassioned speech, calling for people to rise up against the evil Empire. His speech goes beyond the immediacy of the rebellion and talks about banding together as a people, lifting each other up, not putting each other down. Then he delivers one of the most memorable, most often quoted lines in a series full of lines like this: "One way out." This rallying cry is powerful and eventually revealed to be tragic. When the prison break is a success, hundreds of prisoners leap into the surrounding oceans. Loy, who was instrumental into it happening, reveals that he can't swim. The series leaves him standing on the prison platform with nowhere to go, his fate uncertain. I hope this recap helps you get your bearings together for the upcoming second season of Andor. If you want more Andor breakdowns, I've been doing a series of incredibly in-depth, arc-specific dissections of the show along with a friend of mine. You could check one of them out right here.